Good morning or good afternoon. Um, Thank you for joining on time. I see people are registering. Please register your name. So to confirm that you're there and you can see us and you can hear us. Very important. Please use the chat, the webinar chat, for open communication. We will send messages and also we can get messages. This is the place where you can write your comments, your questions, and we will be happy to address them. So if you just join us, please write down your name on the chat, and we can start in about 1.5 minutes. And if you don't know, my name is Sam Sheffer. Together with me is Cheyenne. Hi, Cheyenne.
Hi, guys.
And also John. Hello, John.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this is the team in Salvona, and I will introduce each one in more details so you know who they are and what is their role as the webinar team in Salvona U. So before we officially start, I wanted to let you know that Salvona U is a brand of Salvona, and U stands for Salvona University. And this is a special team that is dealing with continuous education, educate our customers and prospects about new technologies that are not so available, pretty rare. Technologies in terms of microencapsulation and submicroencapsulation. We supply this service free of charge, and we open up webinars almost monthly. All the webinars are recorded and then possessed on the website. From the website, you can go to our YouTube channel and search for either Salvona or my name. And Salvona would be the best way to get there. And you can watch all the previous webinars. In addition to this, the revised website of Salvona offers a lot of information, and I think would be very useful for you to check the website for news and other information that we will put and post on the system. Okay, the time is really 11, my time is 11:05. My name is Sam Sheffer, and I'm talking from Salt Lake City, excuse me, Salt Lake City, Utah. And I want to welcome you for this webinar. I hope you will learn from our team here about a new technology that could significantly benefit everybody in terms of skincare. Chemists, formulators can benefit from a really easy technology. And of course, consumer can benefit from a technology that generates results in the short term and in the long term, as well having a product that is safe and biodegradable. Together with me is the sales manager, Cheyenne. Hello, Cheyenne. I transfer the microphone to you.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Salvona's webinar today on HydroSal use. It is the future of anti-aging skincare. We're very excited to have this webinar today. Any of you that participated in last month's webinar, this is the second part of that. So we're focusing on skin rejuvenation today. We have a lot of really great information for you. If you missed the first webinar, it is available on our website as well as our YouTube channel, and we're happy to share a link with you if you would like. So please feel free to check that out. We will also have a recording of today's webinar as well, probably uploaded by tomorrow. So if you would like to share it with a colleague or a customer, we will have that available for you. My role here at Salvona, I'm one of the sales administrators here. I handle mostly international sales, but I'm happy to take any inquiries, or you can contact me for concerns regarding purchase orders or sales or pricing or any of those administrative duties. A couple of little key points I would like to point out. We are going to be giving a survey at the end of this. So please it'll only take 3 seconds to fill it out. It's a very short survey just to give us a little bit of feedback on how we are doing and how we can improve our webinars going forward. Also, as Sam said in the beginning, the chat box and the question and answer box is available. Please, as we're going through this presentation, you can put those chat comments down or questions, and we will get to them at the end. We probably won't be able to stop the presentation, but it's not that long, so we will get to all the questions at the end of this seminar. So please utilize that chat so we can have more of a open discussion at the end. And that being said, we can start. I will turn this over to John Grasso. He's our head R&D engineer here at Salvona, who's going to give you a deep dive into HydroSal Youth. I hope you enjoy your webinar. John?
All right. Thank you, Cheyenne, and thank you, Dr. Sheffer, for the introductions. I hope everyone is excited to talk about this revolutionary technology today. I know I am. And we'll hopefully give you all some insight into how you can improve your skincare, some marketing claims that you can make for your skincare, as well as how to utilize cutting-edge technology to advance the delivery of your functional ingredients with HydroSal Youth. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, Salvona is a technology company. We're located in Hamilton, New Jersey, in the United States, and we've been in business a little bit over 25 years, developing proprietary, patented encapsulation technologies for delivery of cosmetic skincare ingredients. So we take ingredients that are well known in skincare that some of you may have used or are familiar with and help them to work better. We give them delivery vehicles to deliver to the deeper layers of the skin and really see benefits for the claims that we try to make with these ingredients. So today's webinar, like Cheyenne mentioned, is a follow-up to our exfoliation webinar, which is available online. And this webinar is all about HydroSal Youth, which is an encapsulation technology to target the skin for reversing signs of aging. So anti-wrinkle, collagen synthesis, elastin synthesis, things like that, are all products of HydroSal Youth. So without further ado, let's get started. So the topics of this discussion, we are going to talk about signs of aging. Signs of aging, I'm sure everyone is more or less familiar with, but we'll get into kind of the nitty-gritty of why these signs show up and how HydroSal Youth helps us put a stop to these signs of aging from their root cause. We'll talk about the properties of the technology, the clinical studies we have to support the benefits of this technology, the marketing claims that you can make when you incorporate HydroSal Youth into your products, and some formulation tips for the technology itself, how to interact with it, and how to work it into your formulations. So the problem here. The problem is signs of aging. Signs of aging are sometimes things that people don't necessarily want to show. Now, signs of aging can be seen in around the mouth, from smile lines, laugh lines, around the eyes, what are known as crow's feet wrinkles, or on the forehead. Now, as we age, the skin naturally loses some of the ingredients, or some of the constituents, rather, that support healthy, full, plump skin. And what we are looking to do is revitalize this younger, more youthful look in the skin. Now, aging skin isn't always a bad thing. It tells a story of your life, right? Laugh lines from smiles and lines around the eyes, again, from smiling, laughing, getting older. It tells a story, but sometimes you want to turn back time and turn back the pages, and that's where you can use HydroSal Youth. So younger skin, you can see here, all skin is made up of these layers. You have the cuticle, the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Now, the cuticle is going to be the layers of skin that we see. When you look at me, you're looking at the cuticle, the outermost layer of my skin. The epidermis is right below that, and the dermis is where we see things such as collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid, which in young skin supports the skin and gives it a full look for youthful appearance. And can everyone see my slide now? I just want to double check before I get too far into it. Cheyenne, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay. If anyone can't see the slides or if it's not loading, please reach out in the chat and let me know, and I'll try to fix that. So The dermis is a layer of the skin where we see the collagen and elastin. And here, this is obviously an illustration, but it shows the collagen. And let me annotate here to kind of draw your attention to what I'm looking at here. The collagen here is represented by these sort of X's, and it supports, like the diagram shows, the skin. It holds it up. Think of it like a support beam on a house or on a deck. The elastin as well, these long fibrous compounds that hold up the skin and help keep it supple. These clusters here are hyaluronic acid, which is a well-known anti-aging ingredient. And if we look now here, I see someone else said they can't see the other slide. What you guys should be seeing now is a picture of younger skin, an illustration with cuticle, epidermis, dermis. So that should be what's showing up on your screen.
Yeah, there's just the one picture of the younger skin. I think.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, the other one didn't load yet.
Okay.
Here we go.
So now we look at aging skin. This is skin that's lost some of its support structure. Again, if we use the house or the deck analogy, this is going to be sort of an aging or a degrading foundation. Notice the collagen is starting to deplete in some areas that has the skin start to sag. It starts to pull into the face. The elastin is not as strong. It's not offering as much support, and this causes the skin to sag. There's also a decrease in hyaluronic acid. Now, this decrease causes wrinkles in the face. This causes the skin to sink in, and this is where we see wrinkles. This happens naturally over time. We see atrophied collagen, elastin fibers breaking, and less hyaluronic acid. And this is a natural occurrence, but it's something that leads to appearances that are sometimes undesirable, and that is why we want to try to target these layers of the skin and target these constituents, the collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid, to support the skin. Visible changes can be seen on the surface, but these are a byproduct of structural changes underneath. And these signs can be seen as fine lines and wrinkles, losing skin firmness, dryness of the skin, a dull, uneven skin tone, and rough texture. So this is where HydroSal Youth comes in. So if you have any product or project working on anti-aging, then this is definitely something that you would want to look into. This technology takes well-known functional ingredients for hyaluronic acid, for things like copper tripeptide, for resveratrol, that we'll get into in a little bit, all the functional ingredients, and helps deliver them to the deeper layers of the skin where they can support that collagen elastin synthesis. They can supplement that hyaluronic acid and make your skin look and feel younger again. This is a photo of the material, the raw, clear material, and it's easy to introduce to formulation. And give me 1 second here. I think I'm getting some feedback on this. Sorry about that. This is a clear material, clear transparent liquid. It's an advanced raw material, and it's a technology for delivery to the deeper layers of the skin. Now, what is HydroSal Youth? HydroSal Youth is a technology. The HydroSal is one of Salvona's vehicles of delivery. If you're familiar with Salvona, then you may be familiar with SalSphere, MultiSal, and HydroSal. These are the 3 veins of encapsulation that we use to deliver functional ingredients to the skin. The HydroSal is based off of a core shell structure. So what makes this encapsulation unique compared to other encapsulations is the core shell structure. The core contains the active ingredients, the copper tripeptide, low molecular weight hyaluronic acid, and resveratrol. The core is also made of ceramides. It's a lipophilic core, a lipid-based core that encapsulates these functional ingredients for delivery through the skin's lipid membranes. Now, obviously, the skin is lipophilic. Your skin does not want to let water pass. It actually needs things like transport proteins or aquaporins to let the water pass through. So if you have a water-soluble ingredient it cannot pass through the skin without some help, which is why we encapsulate with a lipophilic core to allow these ingredients to enter the skin to where they can be most efficacious. And all of this is encapsulated in a hydrophilic polymeric shell made up of high molecular weight hyaluronic acid and cellulose-derived polymers. We encapsulate it in this hydrophilic shell to allow us to suspend the hydrophobic cores in formulation. So again, hydrophobic core, hydrophilic shell, and the hydrophobic core has the functional ingredients in the actual technology. So this is an overview of the functional ingredients of HydroSal Youth. And I know this is a lot of text, and I would encourage you to either take notes or take a screenshot. But I will go through each of these ingredients and talk a little bit about why we include them for those who are unfamiliar and why we need to encapsulate them. So copper peptide. Copper peptide is a very new, is a very recently interesting ingredient. It's become all the craze, all the rave in skincare because of its many benefits. It helps stimulate collagen and elastin production. It helps promote youthful skin. There's some evidence to suggest its benefit in wound healing. So this ingredient is coveted for its anti-aging effects. However, it is water soluble. It's easy to work into formulations. It's water soluble. However, when we look at the skin's lipid bilayer, this means that the copper tripeptide without a lipid carrier cannot effectively penetrate the skin. And what does this mean? This means that most of it is left on top of the skin and does not reach the levels where it needs to reach to do things like support the collagen and elastin synthesis on the deeper layers of the skin. So that's why you need a lipid-based encapsulation such as HydroSal. Low molecular weight hyaluronic acid is one of the more common ingredients for anti-aging. Hyaluronic acid is something that most people have heard of, have used to reduce the signs of aging, to get more youthful, plumping, hydrated skin. Some of the downsides are it's sensitive to oxidation and can trigger inflammation when applied to the skin. So an added benefit of encapsulating it is, along with the better delivery, is the increased residence time on and in the skin due to controlled release, so that we get the benefit over time, as well as see a more immediate hydration and moisturization benefit. We see the hyaluronic acid, in essence, working over longer periods of time. High molecular weight hyaluronic acid helps to form a moisture-retaining film on the skin surface, which improves barrier function. The skin barrier is important for all sorts of things, for maintaining anti-aging, for keeping water trapped for hydration and plumpness. And high molecular weight hyaluronic acid needs to be encapsulated because it has poor skin penetration. Now, as I mentioned, this high molecular weight makes up the shell of the encapsulation, part of the shell. So this works as a protection for the other aspects of the encapsulation, for the lipid core, as well as when applied to the skin, helps create a hydrating, small, thin film on the skin to lock in moisture and improve the skin barrier along with the ceramides. Resveratrol we add as a powerful antioxidant to neutralize free radicals and reduce signs of aging. It also works as a hyaluronidase inhibitor. The enzyme that breaks down hyaluronic acid is inhibited by resveratrol. So we include that to ensure efficacious levels of hyaluronic acid are maintained throughout the treatment with HydroSal Youth. The downsides of resveratrol are it's highly unstable, and that is why we need to encapsulate it to improve its stability and let it do what it needs to do to support anti-aging and hyaluronic acid. So now we'll look at the technology itself, some of the in vitro evaluation we have. These are quantitative objective data points measured using a cutometer dual MPa 580, the machine pictured there. And the tools we used to measure were the corneometer and tewometer. Now, these measurements show the efficacy of HydroSal Youth in both moisturization and skin barrier repair. So the conditions of the test for HydroSal Youth. We wanted to test skin hydration and barrier properties. There it's denoted as TOOL, transepidermal water loss, measured using a corneometer and a tewometer from Courage and Costco. There was a lotion containing only 2% HydroSal Youth that was applied to the forearms of volunteers and the parameters that we're going to show were measured after 8 hours. So I like to stress at this point that the lotion containing HydroSal Youth was enhanced with only 2%. So the results that you see, keep in mind, we're seen with only 2% HydroSal Youth added to the formulation. It's not like you need to use 50% in your formulation to see any sort of benefit. At only 2%, which is a low level and a cost-effective level, you're able to make all of these claims about moisturization and transepidermal water loss. So here we see skin moisturization. This is measured after 8 hours of application of a lotion containing 2% HydroSal Youth in blue and a base lotion in gray. And we see over a 130% increase in moisturization percentage compared to a control lotion. So again, this is at 2% HydroSal Youth. We see an over 130% increase after only 8 hours. So not only are you getting the sustained anti-aging effect from things like anti-wrinkle, anti-crow's feet wrinkles, or skin brightening, you're also getting that that within the same day benefit of skin moisturization. So you'll be able to feel, your consumers will be able to feel the moisturization within a day, as well as through repeated application, the anti-aging effects. So it kind of gives an immediate and a sustained benefit, which is one of the uses of the technology. Here we measure transepidermal water loss, or TOOL. Now, this is a less common metric, or perhaps a less intuitive metric than moisturization. So I always like to stop and take a minute or so to explain what we're measuring here, because the graph might seem counterintuitive. We have a lower value. How is that better? So in any case, when you're trying to understand a measurement, it might help to look at the units. And here we see transepidermal water loss measures grams per square meter per hour. So it's a mass per area per hour. And what this is measuring is over time, how much water is traveling out of the skin, is evaporating from the skin. And what we found was that with, again, 2% HydroSal Youth, we see an over 10% reduction in transepidermal water loss, over 10% less water leaving the skin. And why is this beneficial? This helps us show an improved skin barrier from the HydroSal Youth through a combination of the high molecular weight hyaluronic acid and the ceramides. So by delivering this ceramide core and then covering it with the high molecular weight hyaluronic acid shell, we see an over 10% reduction in water loss. This means more water for your skin. More water for your skin is, in general, healthier to allow things like collagen and elastin synthesis. And this metric really helps us show the barrier repair properties of HydroSal Youth. So again, over 130% improvement in moisturization over 8 hours, and over 10% reduction in transepidermal water loss, again, over 8 hours. So now that we've gone through some of the objective measurements and quantitative results, we'll talk a little bit about the clinical results for HydroSal Youth. This study was done by a third-party laboratory using photos of before and after use of a lotion with 2% HydroSal Youth. Again, 2% is the value that we're using here. And also, before I move too far from the moisturization and transepidermal water loss, I neglected to mention that these are statistically significant differences in values. So it's a significant increase in moisturization and a significant decrease in transepidermal water loss. So those are good marketing claims to be able to make a statistically significant difference for both of those parameters. Back to the clinical results, we see this study compared the in vivo efficacy of two products. We have our base, our lotion or cream base, and then our base with 2% HydroSal Youth. So our variable here is the HydroSal Youth compared to the control of just the base. The study was run with 12 healthy Asian females aged 57 to 65, which is where we start to see some of those signs of anti-aging, or excuse me, some of those signs of aging where we might want to use an anti-aging technology. And the evaluation was performed using an Antera 3D camera for analysis of the parameters of skin color, which would be a whitening or brightening effect, skin texture, and crow's feet wrinkles. So the first thing we look at is skin whitening. So to compare HydroSal Youth to the control, we see a higher luminance, an L parameter, and a higher ITA parameter in terms of skin brightness. These are commonly used metrics for success of a skin brightening ingredient, and we see an improvement compared to the control with the HydroSal Youth technology. This means that you can use it to help brighten the skin, give a more white complexion, and overall improve skin tone. So that's the first claim from clinical studies for the HydroSal Youth. Next, we look at skin roughness. This is a photo of aged skin. You see that it is uneven. There's some peaks and valleys in the skin, and that's what we aim to reduce the variety in the, call it topography of the skin. And here you can see at time 0 versus time 4 weeks. This study was done after 4 weeks of application daily of the HydroSal Youth technology with this scale here on the left. The blue are raised areas and the red are lowered areas. And you see a significant improvement in the smoothness of the skin. The main area that I think it would be beneficial to focus on is this upper left quadrant here. So you can see much less of the dark, deep red and much less of the dark, deep blue, meaning that the skin became more hydrated and kind of leveled out. It evened out the low areas with the high areas into a more even, smooth skin tone, which is what we wanted to see from HydroSal Youth. By giving this smooth skin tone, we can show that the increase in plumping and hydration, the ingredients were able to reach the level where they could work efficaciously to improve that skin plumping or hydration. Quantitatively, what does this look like? So 91.7% of participants reported smoother skin. This was a self-evaluation of the participants, and over 90% of them said that they felt they had smoother skin. The parameter for skin smoothness that was measured was skin average roughness, or RA, which decreased by 5.6%, which is a statistically significant decrease, while the control group actually showed an increase in skin roughness over time of 11.8%. Our p-value here is 0.01, showing a strong support for the statistical significance of this average roughness decrease. And here we see the roughness and root mean squared roughness, another parameter for skin texture, comparing the HydroSal Youth on the left to the control on the right. You can see a decrease in roughness means the skin is more smooth, less peaks and valleys. And we see a statistically significant difference between the HydroSal Youth Enhanced lotion and the base control lotion. So what does all this mean put together? And I hope this isn't so much information that it's not digestible. So I'll take a second here before we get to the wrinkles analysis and just kind of highlight what we've talked about so far. First, there's the moisturization benefit. Over 130% increase in moisturization, statistically significant. There's the barrier repair, a 10% decrease in transepidermal water loss, meaning you're locking in water to the skin, again, statistically significant. We see an increase in skin brightening propensity, and we see a decrease in skin roughness. So overall, it's delivering all these benefits to the skin for a more healthy skin layer, a more healthy environment for anti-aging. Now, of course, or perhaps the most convincing parameter for anti-aging would be the signs that we can see, which would be wrinkles. And now we'll look at the crow's feet wrinkles around the eyes after 4 weeks of application with a lotion containing, again, 2% HydroSal Youth, only 2%. And as you can see, there's a significant decrease in wrinkles on and around the eyes. We'll get into the quantitative analysis in just a few minutes here, but these are statistically significant decreases in wrinkle length, wrinkle count, volume, area. So these pictures, I think, really drive home the point of not only are we getting moisturization, immediate moisturization after 8 hours, transepidermal water loss decrease, so we're getting a better barrier repair, but we are, at the end of the day, getting all of these anti-aging benefits as well. You can see the decrease in wrinkles here. These top photos are just that, photos. And then on the bottom, the Antera 3D Visia analysis showing the actual decrease in wrinkles. And these are all photos that are available on our product overview for HydroSal Youth that I think really drive home the point that at the end of the day, with your moisturization, with your transepidermal water loss, with your brightening, and with your skin smoothness, this is a powerful, powerful anti-aging technology. I mean, the results speak for themselves. These are, again, from a third-party lab tested after 4 weeks, and we see a significant decrease in the wrinkle parameters. Quantitatively, what does this mean? HydroSal Youth significantly improves fine lines and wrinkles of crow's feet. Wrinkle length was reduced by 30%, area by 30%, wrinkle count by 30%, and volume by 22%. So all of these are numbers that help substantiate the claim that HydroSal Youth is anti-aging. Among all other things that this technology is, it's a wonderful delivery technology. The encapsulation really helps us show significant improvements in anti-aging. So this slide will go through the claims that we make with the clinical for HydroSal Youth. Again, I would encourage you to either write down these claims or take a screenshot for the claims that you'll be able to make when you use HydroSal Youth and that you will see in your products using HydroSal Youth. We're able to boost skin moisture by 130% in 8 hours, reduce transepidermal water loss by over 10%, improve skin brightness by 200%, refine skin texture by 5.6%, which again seems perhaps less important than the other parameters, but is a statistically significant difference compared to a control. We reduce crow's feet wrinkles by 30%, improving not only the area of the wrinkles, but the number, the length, the depth, as well as being a safe and well-tolerated ingredient. We have repeated insult patch testing or RIP testing of the HydroSal Youth, and there were no adverse effects reported. So this is safe and gentle for the skin because of the encapsulation technology. We're able to release these ingredients over time to see these immediate and sustained benefits. And again, remember the importance of encapsulation. For these ingredients, you might be thinking, why don't I take them and incorporate them on my own? And you absolutely could, but you will not be able to bypass the skin's lipid bilayer to really reach levels where they can be efficacious. And that's why the encapsulation is so crucial to get all of these measurable and frankly impressive results from an encapsulation technology. So now into the formulation. How do we formulate with it? There's got to be a catch. How do we formulate with this amazing technology? Well, it's really simple. You incorporate it at or below 40 degrees. Under gentle mixing, there's no need to homogenize. You can use standard vortex mixing, no high shear. At a pH range that's ideal for the skin, usually between 5 and 6 is where we want to formulate. It's compatible with water-based ingredients, so it works easily into a serum, a lotion, a cream. If you're using an emulsified or an oil-based encapsulation, you're going to want to make sure you emulsify the oil ingredients before adding the HydroSal Youth. But again, I like to liken it as how you would add a preservative. At the end of your formulation, when you're all cooled down and just about ready to be done, you add the HydroSal Youth, and right away you get all of the benefits and all of the claims that we made here today. At the end of your formulation, you're slowing down the mixing, you are, cutting the heat, and you add this to claim the 130% moisturization if you're looking for a powerful moisturizer. Or if you want to show anti-aging, you add the HydroSal Youth and show the significant decrease in wrinkle count and wrinkle number over time. So it's easy to introduce, and we recommend it between 2 and 10% for the usage level. Again, we tested all of these claims at the lower bound. So by getting results at the lower bound of our recommended usage, that suggests that at higher usage, the results would be even more prominent. You can use it up to 10%, but again, you can see these results and make these claims at only 2%. And we include some example formulations here if you wanted some ideas of how to introduce the HydroSal Youth or formulations that you could add it to. But that is just about everything from me on HydroSal Youth. And again, I want to hammer home the point of the encapsulation driving the functionality of these ingredients, where you see all of these benefits. So if there's a project that you have for moisturization or anti-aging, take a look at HydroSal Youth to add at 2% and benefit your formulation in all of these ways.
Okay, thank you, John, for that very thorough presentation on HydroSal use. I hope everyone found it informative and enjoyable. Go ahead and take this time now if you haven't put down any questions in our chat box or the question and answer box. We're going to start to get through some of those. So if you think of something as we're going along, please feel free to enter the chat. Okay, our first question, sorry. What kind of stability testing has been done on this? And have you tested under different pH and temperature conditions?
So for stability for HydroSal Youth, we test it in accelerated stability conditions, so a stability oven. And this shows stability for, I believe we give a preliminary stability of around 1 year to 18 months. But this is a very stable technology. It wouldn't break an emulsion, and you can introduce it to your formulation without an issue.
Next question. How does it enhance dermal penetration? Does it rely on passive diffusion or carrier-mediated delivery?
So that's a good question. Again, remember the design of the encapsulation, the lipid core and the hydrophilic shell. So by encapsulating in the lipid core with the skin's lipid bilayer, or the cell's lipid bilayer rather, we then have a passive diffusion through the skin from lipid-lipid interactions.
Hey, good questions, guys. Keep them coming. Let's see. Can you combine HydroSal Youth with other anti-aging actives, such as retinol or peptides?
Yeah. Short answer, yes. You can include other ingredients like retinol and peptides with the HydroSal Youth for an even more prominent effect. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Another one is asking, can you add vitamin C to this formulation?
So working with vitamin C as an acid can be a bit difficult with HydroSal Youth. That might be something that you wanted to test empirically. Again, to stay in the relatively stable pH range for youth of around 5 to 6.
Okay. Let's see. How high of a temperature can we go? Above 104?
So 104, I'm assuming Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
So the beauty of this technology is you don't have to worry about heating it for your formulations. If you have a hot formulation like an emulsion where you need to melt a wax or something, you wouldn't need to add the HydroSal Youth in that phase. Once you bring the emulsion down and cool it to room temperature, that's when you would add the HydroSal Youth and it would work in no problem. So you don't have to introduce it to any high heat formulations.
I'm getting notifications a few people raised their hand. If you could please just put your question in the chat. Okay. Often in clinicals, we focus on the epidermis. Do you have data to show that the dermis is strengthened with the boost of collagen, ceramides, upregulation, etc.?
Yeah, so by strengthening the dermis, in terms of, if you recall the diagram from early on in the presentation, in terms of supplementing hyaluronic acid and supporting collagen synthesis with the copper tripeptide, those are all things that are widely available in literature. So people know, and that's why they want to use hyaluronic acid or copper tripeptide, that it supports the synthesis of things like collagen and elastin. And by encapsulating it, we kind of give that a boost. As you can see with the anti-wrinkle data that we have, the anti-wrinkle pictures, we're able to boost that kind of synthesis to support the skin.
Are there any incompatibilities?
So for incompatibilities with ingredients or in formulation, I'm not sure what specifically the question is referencing, but in formulation, it should be able to be introduced to most formulations. Like I said, serums, you can introduce water-based serums. It can be introduced readily. Emulsions, you would add it at the end under cooling. And homogenization affecting the performance, we would usually recommend that you add it after homogenizing your formulation, again, under vortex mixing below 40 degrees.
Okay, good questions.
And also for the incompatibilities, again, we had questions about the acids before the vitamin C. You would want to make sure it stays in a stable pH range between 5 and 6. So some acids may cause compatibility issues, but you can, of course, determine that empirically.
Okay. What kind of claims can we make? For example, clean beauty, sensitive skin, long lasting, globally compliant.
All of them. This technology is Sephora clean, globally compliant. And you can use it as a skin safe. Again, we have RIPT testing. So yeah, all of those claims align with HydroSal Youth.
Okay.
I think
Next
earlier
question.
I saw a question about what it's preserved with. It's a natural preservative and it passed PET testing, so it's an efficacious preservative system.
Okay. Let's see. How does it affect the sensory profile, feel, and appearance of the final product?
So when you're adding this to your formulation, it shouldn't affect the texture or the sensory profile of your final product. Again, at 2%, if you were to add maybe 20%, then you might see some changes in texture, but it shouldn't affect it at the recommended use level between 2 to 10%.
Okay. Another question, will this HydroSal be stable at 120 degrees Fahrenheit in lotion formulations as part of stability for 1 month?
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, you're asking once you work it into your lotion and you want to test it at 120 degrees for 1 month, will it break the encapsulation or will it separate out? And the answer is it shouldn't. You should be able to introduce it to your lotion formulation and maintain a stable lotion, the stable emulsion over that 1 month period.
Jonathan asked, is this China compliant? Yes, it is. I can answer that one. It's easy. Sorry, it's moving so fast. What was this tested under USP 51 or PCPC method for PET testing?
So for PET testing, we have the documents available. If you wanted to message Cheyenne, we could send you the PET testing documents that'll confirm their SOP and the way in which they conducted that test. It was a third-party PET test.
Okay, good questions, guys. Keep them coming. Did you have any data on instant anti-aging effects for this?
So as far as instant anti-aging goes, the data that we have shows after 8 hours, the moisturization and the transepidermal water loss benefits. For instant anti-aging, that's going to differ person to person. It's hard to make a claim like that, instant, say after 15 minutes or after an hour. But there is data to show the increase in moisturization and decrease in transepidermal water loss, which could benefit the skin in terms of showing signs of anti-aging.
Okay. Are we able to get a copy of the clinical study report for this?
The clinical data, I mentioned earlier, we have a product overview with quotes and pictures from the clinical data that is available for the product. So we can send that, or Cheyenne rather, would be your contact for that. That'll have the results from the clinical study.
You mentioned cumulative effects. Have there been any studies completed on how long they last?
So the effects from this clinical study were after 4 weeks. As far as how long the effects last, that's also hard to say because it could vary person to person. Someone who's maybe a little bit younger, whose skin still has the ability to support collagen and elastin synthesis on its own, it would be perhaps a little bit longer. And someone who is older, it might be a little bit less time that we see the results actually staying. So no, we haven't tested how long the cumulative effects stay because it's hard to put in a box.
Well, thanks, guys, for the questions. I think that about wraps it up. On your screen now, you should see our contact slide. This is how to get in touch with myself, John Grasso. We also have the contact for our Vice President of R&D, as well as our President, Sam Sheffer. Feel free to reach out to any of us if you would like any more information on this. Like I said, the presentations will be sent out for your review and a copy of the webinar shortly after. So make sure you check those out and stay tuned for future webinars. Like I said in the beginning, there's a brief survey. We really appreciate it if you would take a minute to fill that out. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Feel free to reach out with any questions, and I hope you are interested.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.